Welcome to Crawl or No Crawl. This is Carolyn Holzman. Today is September 10th. Lots to cover, so let's get a move on. Now, on Friday, Google announced we're done in regards to the core update they announced on August 22nd. So here, that's where this is notated here. And the toughest thing about all of this, and I'm sure looking at this is kind of weird, but notating what I see is very challenging sometimes. So if you have any questions, please make sure you post it in the comments below the video. I am very happy to explain what it is. If there's a particular line or something like that that you're like, what does that stand for? Feel free to ask me. Okay. Now, within the last 7 days, and I'm looking right in here, this is the Google Search Console updates in the reporting section. They typically are updated every 3 days. And when they update 3 days worth of data, but, shifted to 2 days back, if that makes sense. So looking at this, we've had, let me see over here. Let me slide this up so you can see here. Kind of overlaying that with what these represent are new Chrome builds on either the mobile bot or the desktop bot. So as you can see, the last 7 days, we've had the introduction of 4 new standard Google crawlers. And then what this represents here are the InspectionTool Chrome updates. It's a collection of 4 different crawler agents, and 3 of them have Chrome builds attached to them. And these are the bots that come when you request indexation through Search Console, or you do a mobile-friendly test, or a rich snippet test, that type of thing. They're not the normal crawlers, but they crawl and they render. So they are clearly important. So on this case, like I say, we've had 4 of these, and then each one of these represents 3 bots that get updated. So it's a crazy amount of change within 7 days. And the way I found out that these InspectionTool Chrome builds were updated, I ran a quick test and ran it through the Search Console, not the API method that I'm currently retesting, I should say. And that's how I discovered that their Chrome builds were updated. Now they get updated, and I put this here, 41 and 42. What does that mean? I will show you over here. Now this bot log is not on the indexation site on American Way Media. So you can only see it when I show it to you here. And what you can see here on this mobile is when I say they're not built up to the newest one, they're built up to the next newest one. And so this is my number, MobileBot 43. You just have to know that since I started looking at server logs, which I didn't do it from the very beginning of research, this is now the 43rd mobile crawler agent with a new Chrome build that I found. And so over here, this one's indicative of the desktop crawler Googlebot, and so we've seen 42 of those. So that's what that is. Now, for anyone new, the Chrome crawlers, the picture bots, the ones that draw our pages, it's that Chrome build that gets updated. And the nature of those updates clearly, historically, has provided Google engineers with opportunities for testing the new against the old Chrome build. And it's invoked incidents of what I normally refer to as rollbacks to a previous state. We call it the primary index, the one that we can see in and search in. Plus, let's go back to here. I also want to mention these updates here, the Search Console page updates. We had 3 updates within 7 days, but it only spanned 5 days of data in the Search Console, meaning we went from, this was the date that the 4th was the date that our search consoles were updated so that the data included up to the 3rd of September. Hope that's making sense. It's a lot of numbers. Remember, we're not real time in our search console. So normally, this one was later than normal. But when it happened, usually it's like 3 days before we get the next one. And that covers another 3 days. So instead of this being 9/3 to 9/4 after 3 days, it should have been to, like 9/6 or 9/7, something in there. And so it was only like 1 day's worth. And then we had a break, and then we had another one last night into today. So what's really interesting is normally we would only see 2 of these to get that 5 days. So we had 3 updates to get 5 days. Okay. Now, you have to go back to the week when the core update was announced to see what I'm talking about. And I can just hopefully quickly do this. And you'll be able to see that normally we just have 2, and they cover 3 to 4 days worth of data inside of them. Okay. So basically what I want to say is if you saw weirdness last week, please refrain from blurting out that you were hit with the update. There are alternative explanations for what you're seeing that frankly are probably more likely to be the source of the weirdness than the update was. And here's another thing I haven't seen before. This is where I notate the SEMrush mobile volatility and desktop volatility. And it's very rare that we see the desktop volatility being higher than the mobile. Typically, it looks like this. Lately, they've been more the same on more days than I've seen. But normally, it's like this. You have mobile being higher than the desktop. So what do I make of that? Well, it probably indicates that they may be doing something with mobile results. So keep that in mind before you start thinking that something really, really bad has happened. It could very well be just the testing, or they may be working on something in there and it's not you. Now, what's going on with the Google Indexing API testing? All right. Well, last week, I really just did these 2 tests. I didn't really test during the week. But what's interesting is not that much has been happening with the API. And so today's test, I decided to do a little differently. And if you can see here, there's a pretty significant time difference in here between when indexation was requested through the API and when the bot actually arrived. So today I decided to do it a little differently. And so before submitting through the API, I disconnected the API, published the new page. I then submitted the new updated sitemap that had the new page from today in it. Then I went back in, reconnected the API, and submitted the URL to the Google Indexing API. And if you look here, it sort of had a more immediate effect, getting the Google bot to arrive. So please note what I'm saying here. The Indexing API does not seem, at least this last week, does not seem to automatically send the bot. If the sitemap gets updated in Search Console before the API request, the bot appears to come immediately. Please let that sink in. Timing, people. And here's the plot thickens. It doesn't look like any of these 3 tests that were published before today, they had no render crawls. And so far, no render crawls up until today. I haven't seen a render crawl, and I haven't seen it today either. And that is different than it used to be before December 5th, 2022. So if you're using the Indexing API and you have a heavy JavaScript framework on your website, you're probably pulling your hair out. I suggest for problematic pages, the workaround for now is to manually resubmit your updated sitemap and then manually submit the troublesome URL if you want to be like really, really precise. And yes, you are limited to 10 URLs in a 24-hour time frame. And note, it's probably not your midnight to midnight. It's more likely to be Greenwich Mean Time. Okay, well, stick around for more indexing API tests. The Forensic SEO class Forensic SEO training class is closed now. But you can also, if you need more SEO content, check out Confessions of an SEO podcast. They're coming now on a regular basis, so it's not that much to catch up on. All right, thanks so much, and I will talk to you next week.